Hey flaunters! Today we're going to be discussing how to find your pole flow. Now, before I go into tips and suggestions, I want you to know that this is something that I struggled with immensely when I was learning to pole dance. I can remember looking back at my videos and feeling like, oh my God, it looks like everything I'm doing is on accident. Nothing looks fluid, nothing looks smooth, nothing looks cohesive. So please know what you're experiencing right now is completely normal and it's all part of the learning process. So let's get into some tips and suggestions to help you find your pole flow. Tip number one, stop putting so much focus on learning new tricks. And I'm telling you this because I had to learn from experience. I know we think, oh, the more pole tricks I know, the better pole dancer I'll be. And that's not necessarily true, because when we're learning new pole tricks, and this means everyone, not just you, this counts for me and anyone that's learning, you don't yet have the neuromuscular coordination for it to look fluid. That means you have to practice that same trick over and over and over and over again before it starts to look fluid. So if you're working on your flow, why would you want to include a new pole trick into it? Of course it's going to look choppy. And trust me, this was what I used to do, right? I just wanted to throw every new trick that I learned into a routine and think that it was going to look good. And if you're doing that and looking back at your videos, you're probably seeing exactly what I'm saying. Nothing looks put together or cohesive. So again, don't put so much focus on learning new tricks just to include it in your repertoire and think that that's going to help with your flow. Tip number two, the most important tip, don't compare your pole journey. I am so guilty of I was so guilty of being one of those pole dancers. So that means I'm trying to mimic movements that are comfortable on someone else's body and then expecting it to look good when I do it. And I started putting more effort into just practicing and recording myself and paying attention to what looked good on my body. That is when I really started to realize that I was coming and forming my very own pole flow, like my style of pole dancing, not anyone else's. So tip number two is super important. And I know it's hard, especially when you're just starting off, because it's so many cool videos to look at. But please take time to just practice and record yourself and jam out, and don't try to compare what you're doing with anyone else's, and don't try to dance like anyone else. This is your pole journey, so your flow isn't going to look like anyone else's, and that's the beauty of it. Tip number three, practice, practice, and practice the tricks that you already know. So we all have our tricks that feel comfortable, that we can do with our eyes closed. These are the ones that you need to keep working on. Figure out ways to have different entries and exits from those tricks that you can do with your eyes closed. Because when you're flowing and you're in your zone, those are the moves that your body will naturally fall into. And because it's happening naturally and you're not forcing it and overthinking it, then of course it's going to look more fluid. I want you to do, and this is something that helped me, I want you to go to the first timer section. I know, even if you're advanced, I get it. I want you to go to the first timer section of the Fit to Flaunt app, and I want you to pick 4 skills from that section. It could be a pirouette, a dip, a V-drop, a pole sit, a fireman spin, a sun kiss. Any 4 moves from the level 1 section of the Fit to Flaunt app, and I want you to put some music on that gets you in your pole dancing mood and practice jamming out, only incorporating those 4 basic beginner spins. Yes, you heard correctly. And when you have your freestyle session, you're only allowed to do those 4 tricks. That means any other dance moves that you have to do in between will be fillers that your body will naturally do without you thinking about it. Now, once you do this exercise 1 or 2 times, you're gonna start to notice like, wow, I kind of like this transition that I made up on the spot. It looks really good on me. Or, ooh, I like the way I got into the fireman this time. That is how you're going to develop your flow. Practicing moves that are comfortable so that you can be free and let loose. I really hope this video is helpful to you, and please, please, please share your progress with me. I love when you guys DM me all your videos and tricks that you're learning. It makes me so happy. As always, thank you for being a flaunter, and you know where to find me if you need any help. You can DM us on Instagram, in the discussion board, and you can even email us.